Good evening, everyone, and welcome. My name is Jacqui Owen. I'm the Relationship Manager for the College of Law in Queensland, and I'm joined by my lovely colleague, Tracy Reeves, who is one of our adjunct lecturers at the College of Law. She does live up on the Sunshine Coast, so she's a local lady to you all, and she teaches and assesses in our practical legal training course at the College of Law. So you will potentially be seeing quite a lot of Tracy when you are here with us at the College of Law. So thanks, Tracy, for joining us, and thanks to everyone for taking time out of their, is it a Thursday evening to join us as well. So want to make this quite casual and give you all the information that you need about PLT. Some of you are coming up to the final weeks of your course, which is so super exciting. And so this is the next step for you. And do feel free to flick your cameras on and ask questions, or raise your hand, or pop questions in the chat box. And Tracy, if I'm not seeing any of the questions, please, when we've got the slides up, please let me know. And we can also have a question session at the end as well. So we want to make sure that you get the information that you all require. So I'm going to head over to the screen sharing bit and get that happening. There we are. I hope you can see that all right, Tracy. Excellent, excellent. So welcome everyone. Here we are. We're going to chat all about PLT at the College of Law. So hopefully everyone has an understanding that just having a law degree is not enough to be able to call yourself a lawyer or solicitor. In fact, you can get into a little bit of trouble from the powers that be if you do start calling yourself a lawyer or a solicitor with just a law degree. You need to also be careful about even calling yourself a graduate lawyer, because you either are a graduate with a law degree or you're an admitted lawyer. So yes, when you are an admitted lawyer, you might be a fairly recent graduate, but those terms don't go together. So you're either a graduate without being admitted, or you're a lawyer who is admitted. So that doesn't cover it. So you can't represent yourself to clients or to the world in general without being admitted as a lawyer or a solicitor and going through that admissions ceremony. So of course you do need your law degree. That is the starting point. So if you look at this as a checklist of what you need to do, some of you are nearly able to go, check, law degree, yay, I've got that one. You know, a lot of hard work, a lot of late nights and a lot of effort and commitment have gone into obtaining that law degree. So congratulations to all of you who are heading towards graduation. It is certainly a very exciting time. Then you will come to the College of Law and do your practical legal training, or PLT as we like to shorten it to, of course. That will get you a graduate diploma of legal practice, which is the qualification that PLT gives you. And you'll take that along with your law degree to the admissions body in the state that you want to practice in. So of course, in Queensland, that is the Queensland Legal Practitioners Board, the LPOB, while we're talking about acronyms. And you will do your application, including proof that you are a fit and proper person. And then you will go through an admissions ceremony in the Supreme Court of Queensland down in Brisbane. You'll have a mover, so someone who is an admitted practitioner will stand up in court and recommend to the court that you be admitted as a practicing solicitor. And then as a group, you all take a couple of oaths. Now, you don't have to say anything on your own, your mover does, but then the group that's being admitted, you have they give you the words and you read it off. And it's actually quite funny because sometimes the groups there's no practicing. The groups all la 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 in a perfect time, like a well-rehearsed machine. And sometimes it's ebob, 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 and it's all out of time. So it's always quite amusing to hear which one it is. So that happens. Then everyone goes out, we all clap, and everyone goes out and you sign the roll of solicitors, and that's when you're a lawyer or a solicitor. You will then apply to Queensland Law, the admissions board, to be sent your practicing certificate, and that's a very special day indeed. We did have a ceremony last Monday, so you might have seen a whole lot of pictures up on LinkedIn with people announcing that they had been admitted, and it's very exciting. And I do recommend you take the day off and maybe have a nice lunch somewhere with your friends and family and those who have supported you. So that's not too far away for some of you. That could be in the first half of next year. So PLT is exactly what it sounds. It's adding those practical skills to your theoretical law degree. So we take that base of knowledge and we start teaching you how to be a lawyer rather than about the law. So you'll be on your feet, so to speak, whether it's on a Zoom situation or in a face-to-face learning environment, and you're on your feet practicing being a lawyer. So you'll practice how to announce your appearance in court, you'll do some mediation, and you'll do some interviewing and that sort of stuff throughout that first week in our Lawyer Skills Week. But then throughout the program, you will be drafting different documents. So you'll be working on mock matters, as if you were an entry-level lawyer, and you'll be drafting lots of letters and affidavits and contracts and documents that you will then submit to your boss, which of course is your lecturer, in a safe, secure environment, and obtain feedback on those documents so that you can make your work as good as possible. And so we bring you up to that standard. And it is that safe, secure environment that you can make mistakes, ask questions, gain feedback, put that feedback into your work, and go out into the workforce as that entry-level, newly admitted lawyer, and have some confidence that you can do that job. Of course, you won't. That won't be it. You'll always be continuing to learn. We all are, really. We all should be lifelong learners, but especially in the law, those first 2 years are probably, this great big steep learning curve with your training wheels on. But then the more you are working in the law and practicing and gaining experience and exposure to different matters, you will get more and more confident, and you'll sharpen your skills as you go along. And you will continue to do that throughout your career. So what we're trying to do is give those practical skills and confidence and a little bit of experience with these things before you have to go and do it for real for a boss, or maybe stand in front of a judge, some of you, and appear in court. So what do you need to come into PLT? You need to have completed your law degree. So some of you will be just about ready to slot on into PLT. We've got courses that you'll be eligible for this year, or you might like to have a little break over Christmas, and we've got lots of courses starting in the new year as well. Now, if you are coming up to your final semester and have completed your Priestley 11 and have no more than 2 electives left, you can apply to the admissions board to come in early. So that would be your choice. So if you are desperate to get into PLT and get admitted a little bit earlier, that's your choice. And sometimes when people have maybe done a double degree, or they've maybe changed from full-time to part-time, or the other way around throughout their course, that final semester they might only have 1 or 2 subjects left, and they're not their Priestley 11, and that's a great option for them to sort of start that next process a little bit earlier. So it's up to you. However you decide, we are here to welcome you when you are ready. Okay, so I like to break down PLT into 3 different sections. So 1 is coursework, 2 is work experience, and 3 is continuing professional education, or CPE. So let's just imagine in your head, superimpose your name at the top of this slide, and it's got 3 check boxes underneath. 1 is coursework, 2 is work experience, and 3 is CPE. Sorry if you can hear a big dog barking in the background. I'm presenting from home tonight, and the front door's open. It's Luca. So what we need by the end of the course is for you, or shortly thereafter, is for you to have tick, tick, tick in all those 3 boxes. That's when you'll get your completion certificate and your graduate diploma of legal practice, which you will take to the admissions board along with your degree. So this is what we need to achieve. So let's break it down and talk about all those 3 sections individually. Okay, so first of all is coursework, and this is why we brought invited Tracy along with us. So Tracy teaches this coursework and assesses this coursework as well. So she's going to go through a little bit more detail about, as a lecturer, about that information for you. But the subjects, sort of as an overview, we've got 5 compulsory subjects and then 2 electives that you will choose. So lawyers skills is predominantly ticked off with that week 1, which is our full-time face-to-face intensive workshops that run in week 1. But then of course you will still keep working on those skills throughout the course. But then you'll also do those other subjects there. There's a little bit of ethics scattered in throughout every subject as well. So that's a little bit of a hot tip, isn't it, Tracy? Always look at the ethics component in every subject that you're doing, because there might just be some questions on it in your exam. So that's a hot tip. Then you'll choose 2 elective subjects, and you can see that lots of these subjects have similar names to things you've done at uni, but they are the postgraduate level. So we'll assume that knowledge at uni, and then you'll put those those extra practical skills within that subject. So for example, in property law, you'll actually have mock matters, and you will be working on either acting for someone who's buying or selling a property, and you'll be doing all the documentation to go along with that. So I've just sold property myself, and it was really interesting to go through that process. I had a little bit of an idea, having sat outside and listened to so many property assessments from some of the lecturers. So the language was familiar, and even if you never practice in property, it will come into be very valuable skills and very valuable information when you are actually maybe buying or selling houses yourself. So it's all life skills as well here at the College of Law. So you'll choose your elective subjects. It might be something you've really enjoyed at uni. It might be where you kind of see yourself practicing. It might be where an area that you're working in at the moment. And of course, things can change down the track. So just because you don't choose a particular elective subject doesn't mean you can't practice in that area. Of course you do. You can. And you might like to come back to us and do your master's down the track. So let's just say you don't choose family law practice, and somewhere down the track, there's an opportunity for you to go into family law, because there is a lot of family law practice up on the Sunshine Coast. You might find that you want to come back to us and do your master's. With us, we've got very practical master's programs. And if you've done your College of Law PLT with us, an 8-subject master's, we give you credit for 2 of the subjects, and become 6 subjects, which you can actually do 1 subject at a time in a year and a half. And that will sort of take you to the next level within your knowledge in your career. And also it might set you on the path towards specialist accreditation, which is very exciting as well. So those are the subjects. We do have, much like university, you can choose to study our program full-time, and you can choose to study our program part-time. And so the full-time program is 15 weeks and the part-time program is 30 weeks. If you are working, especially in a full-time role, we do recommend that you study part-time. It's a little bit different to uni. You can't sort of save it all up and just have a couple of big weekends at the end. You do have to be there is sometimes 3 pieces of assessment due every week in a full-time course, and you have to do that before you can move on to the next thing. It's a bit more like a work situation, isn't it, Tracy, where I can't just not do everything for the whole month and then just on the last Friday of the month get it all done. I have to be doing things every day and working towards goals and targets throughout the whole month. So it's a little bit more like work like that.
It is much more like work, isn't it? And,
isn't it?
I think you do yourself a disservice as well if you do take that approach of just, quickly handing things in at the last possible moment, and you haven't really put the time and effort into it that you should. Because this is your training ground. So this is your opportunity to actually get the most out of that training and get lots of good feedback and guidance about the documents you're drafting and the advice that you're giving.
Absolutely. And you're not only doing yourself a disservice, but your future clients a disservice as well. They'll be coming to you and looking at you as the expert in this area. And you need to soak in as much as you can throughout PLT. And it's different to uni. It really is setting you up to be able to walk into a firm or an organization, into a legal role, and be in that role with some confidence. And it's like anything in life, the more you put into it, the more you'll get out of it. Absolutely. So consider, if you are working full-time, maybe taking the part-time course. So week 1 is the same for both full-time and part-time though. So we do what we call it our on-site, but because before COVID, we used to be on site with you, or used to be on site with us. But it's a week of face-to-face workshops is what it is. Intensive workshops. They run Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. And you have to be with us face-to-face for that whole time. So before COVID, that would be in a classroom, and we used to teach on the Sunshine Coast. So that week 1, we used to send Tracy quite often to the University of Sunshine Coast campus, and she would go up there with her box of bickies and lollies and other materials, but most importantly, the bickies and the lollies. And you guys would be there for the whole week in the classroom, and then so whether you were full-time or part-time. So full-timers would then move off into another 14 weeks of online work over the next 14 weeks, and the part-timers would do it over another 29 weeks. But it was still a week of full-time in classroom experience. So, you have to take the week off work and be available 9 to 5. Now, then COVID came along, beginning of last year, and we quickly moved that week onto Zoom. So it was a Zoom classroom, which I'm sure you're all very familiar with by now. Excuse me. And so week 1 was online via Zoom, still very interactive. Cameras have to be on. Tracy might send you all off into different groups, into breakout rooms, and then you'll do stuff, and then you'll come back in and then come back in, discuss stuff, and then go off again, and then come back. So we have to hand on heart promise the admissions board that you're still there and it's still engaging and it's as close to being in a classroom as possible. What we're hoping to do for the end of this year, so we've always had 2 what we call our regional intakes, and at the end of June and at the end of November, we teach this face-to-face intensive week in Cairns and Townsville, the Sunshine Coast, the Gold Coast, Rockhampton and Toowoomba. So for the first time in 2 years, so literally since the end of 2019, we are hoping to have Tracy back at the University of the Sunshine Coast, probably, but we're still working on locations, in a classroom with you. Now, we do need a minimum of 10 people. So if you are keen to do that face-to-face, you still do have options to do some of our other courses online if that is your preference. But if you are like, no, I'm sick of being on Zoom, I want to meet people in the flesh and be reminded what it's like to be in a group situation, then you need to round up 9 of your friends and get those minimum numbers. Otherwise, that will move back online. So we're just sort of testing the waters at the moment to see what people will want to do. It's really hard. There's a few people saying that they're busting to get back into face-to-face teaching, but there's a few people that are saying, oh no, it's easier for childcare or whatever, or my commute. So that's sort of in your hands. So just putting that out to you to say, you guys on the Sunshine Coast have an option to go online or what we're calling blended. So at the moment, this has just changed actually. Our Brisbane-based courses are all going to be online through till the new year. Still don't, because they're bigger numbers. So sometimes we have 90 in a group and there's obviously not enough space to social distance everyone. So those ones will remain online for the foreseeable future. But we are offering in November on the Sunshine Coast what we're calling our blended option. So face-to-face for week 1, and then everything else is online, which is what it was before COVID. So that's up to you guys, whatever, if you're keen for it, tell your friends. But you luckily have the option of both. So our practice-based learning is helping you think as a professional and act as a professional and be that confident, competent entry-level lawyer right from the start. So practical skills built on top of that theoretical knowledge of the law. So we have lots of lecturers. There's Tracy. we've got over 30, actually it's probably just gone up. We've just employed a bunch of people. So we've probably got maybe more like 40 Queensland lawyers as our lecturers. So we have some of our lecturers used to work in law firms and have years and years of legal experience. And now their passion is developing the next generation of legal professionals. So they were lawyers, they still maintain practicing certificates, lots of them. And now they're teaching. And then there's some like Tracy who are still out there in law land being a lawyer by day and sometimes teaching for us part-time. So we have lawyers and barristers, people that sit on tribunals, pretty much mediators, pretty much anyone in any, just about any job within the profession, except judges. They can't teach for us when they're on the bench. But we've got previous lecturers who are on the bench, which is exciting, but years and years and years of legal experience, either still in the profession or previously in the profession, to teach you. So that's some of our lovely faces that you might be meeting online. I do not need to tell you what a Zoom classroom is, but this is this was a very first one, actually. It was a Western Australian group. They're all dressed up and looking snazzy. It's before we got a bit lax, isn't it? So you'll have to have your camera on and you'll be interacting, and Tracy will be calling on you and you'll be answering questions and you'll be doing group activities and going into breakout rooms and doing all that sort of stuff that you would be doing in a classroom situation. So we very much have to tick you off for every session, and that goes through to the admissions board. So we have to promise that you were there and interacting. So I might hand over to Tracy now, because this all looks quite fascinating. So Tracy, do you want to have a little chat about how we break down each subject into tasks and activities, and then maybe what the assessment's like at the end and how that's different to university? You're on mute.
Yeah, I'm just unmuting.
There you go.
Yes, Adrian, I saw your question about that, about how many courses you're doing at any one time. So I thought I might as well cover that. And also just quickly mention what we teach in our Lawyers Skills Week as well, so that you sort of get a bit of an idea of what happens and how we end up, assessing things too, so you sort of know what you're up for. So if I can, I will maybe share my screen now. Oh, can I do that, Jacqui? Thanks.
Excellent. So this is the live view. So this is really cool. Thanks.
This
Tracy.
is the live view. Yes. Kind of exciting. It's what it is our learning portal, which we call Canvas, or the learning portal, whichever way you like to look at it. So it's probably similar to what some of you have used. Do you use Blackboard, is it? Or is it something? It's Blackboard, isn't it, at USC? So I've heard other people say it's fairly similar using this one. Obviously navigating around is a little bit different, but yeah. So this is the live version of mine. So if I click on courses or something like that, don't panic. I've got about 300 million of the things. You'll only have a certain number. So what I thought I would show you is just basically what our learning portal looks like, and also a little bit of what it looks like when we do our PLT workshop week, which is of course the Lawyers Skills one. That's simply because I've been teaching that this week, and so it's all kind of open and ready to go kind of thing. So just so as you kind of understand, what we do is just that first week as workshops, and it's either via Zoom or it's in person, and Jacqui's already talked about whether we go in person or not, face to face. In the past, we've often had, for example, one of the tutorial rooms in Building E at the USC campus, and we get one of those rooms and just keep that for the whole week, and that's where we run our workshop week. And that's really quite good. It works well. And then we're usually able to use the moot court as well, so that we can do some advocacy in there. Obviously, the last couple of years have been pretty weird, so we haven't been able to do that, and we're now on to Zoom, which is a different platform. Either way, what we do is we do a whole week of lawyers' skills, and that ranges from what you can see there on the screen: ethical decision making, interviewing clients, doing some basic principles of legal drafting and writing, problem solving skills and risk management. We do a 2-day workshop on representing clients, so we do quite a bit of advocacy. We also do resilience and wellbeing for lawyers, which is a lawyer's skill. And we also do negotiation and early dispute resolution. So that's quite a lot in the 1 week. And those lawyers' skills are all based on what's required for your admission to practice. The college doesn't decide what those subjects are, the admissions board does. So they're really important lawyers' skills. And you have to participate in those workshops, whether it's face-to-face or Zoom, as the case may be. And you will have resources, you'll have things to read, materials to go through, activities, workbooks, you have group activities, interactive tasks, videos to watch. And we do spend quite a lot of time as a group talking about issues and having a practice at advocacy skills, for example. So it's a pretty interactive and admittedly sometimes intensive week. People do usually find that they get quite a lot out of it. So it can be really good as well. And you get to meet some of your group that you're going to be with in PLT. Hopefully sort of partner up with them for some of the early activities that you do. And that's your chance to sort of meet a couple of lecturers as well and sort of establish some contacts with people, some networking. And then at the end of that week, you're online completely. That's it. The rest of your course is going to be conducted online, and you will do core subjects as soon as you start. And the first subject will be ethics and professional development or professional decision making. And then you'll do civil litigation, then property practice, then commercial and corporate practice. So there are 4 core subjects that you have to do. They have a lot in them. There's quite a lot of materials in them, and I'll show you one of them in a minute. And then you get to choose 2 electives as well. So we've got quite a range of electives. You can do things like administrative law, banking and finance, planning and environment, wills and estates, family law, criminal law, employment law as well. So you get to choose 2 of those, and that's the thing that you do last in the whole course. If you're doing it full time, it's about a 14-week period in which you get all of this done. So it is a lot of work, and it is much more similar to actual practice than it is to just being at uni. So you have to start, by the time you finished uni and you're ready to do PLT, you kind of have to start getting out of that mindset of just being a student, because now you're really a trainee lawyer and you're expected to start thinking like one and using real court documents, real REIQ standard contracts for the sale of land or a business, actual letters of advice to clients and file notes to supervisors. Everything's designed around what you'd actually do in practice. So that's a bit of an overview. Does anyone have any questions of me or anything they'd specifically like me to talk about? All right, well, I'll just scare you a slight amount then by looking at one of the subjects that you do. One of your core subjects, the second one you do, is called Civil Litigation Practice. And when you go into our learning portal, this is sort of what it looks like. This is actually one of my groups, and I like to give them little tips about how to prepare for things as we go. It will give you a bit of an overview of what your subject is. It'll give you a video to watch as well. It'll tell you some basic activities that you can do just to sort of prep yourself. and it'll tell you how you're assessed in the subject as well. And it'll give you all the tasks that you're going to do. For every one of these subjects, you are assessed on the basis of either having completed your work to a satisfactory standard or not having completed it to a satisfactory standard. We don't have A, B, C, D in your coursework as such. So your lecturer will go through and mark all your work, probably mark up feedback in your document, and possibly also give you a separate feedback document or some audio feedback. Sometimes refer you to a video to watch or an article to read. And once you've completed your work, what your assessment piece is, to a satisfactory standard, they will mark you off as complete. And that's how you get marked. You will do for each of those core subjects a multiple choice test as well. And you need to pass those by scoring at least 50%. All right. Then your final assessment at the end of roughly every 2 to 3 weeks during the course is going to be an oral assessment on that particular subject, which is worth 100%. That oral assessment basically consists of what is an open book exam, whereby you're speaking the answers rather than writing the answers, because you have access to all your notes and so on as you're talking. And you will give a reflection on how you've gone on the subject and what you might like to improve on, or whether you're doing it in practice, or how you found the resources and how you worked through the subject. And then you'll go through a review with the person assessing you of all the tasks that you've done, and questions arising out of the learning materials too. It's not as daunting as you might think. Most of those assessments are anywhere between about 40 minutes and 60 minutes. The assessors are course lecturers like me. I assess across all subjects, and we do want you to pass. So we will prompt you wherever possible to assist you to remember things and get through. And once you've done 1 or 2 of these assessments, you get the hang of it pretty quickly. We do them via WebEx, so not dissimilar to the Zoom environment, and it's just you and the assessor. Any questions about the assessments? Okay, well, so the types of assessments you might have to do in civil litigation, for example, would be these. So you'll come along to the very first week in civil litigation, and you will need, and note these due dates here, this is for a full-time group, you'll need to do a litigation model and a letter of advice to the client. Then you'll draft pleadings and court documents, submissions, and then you'll finally do your oral assessment. And that's a sort of 2-week period. That's a 2-week turnaround for all of that work. That's why we say to you, you really do need to put the time into this, and especially to get the most out of it for yourself. And your course lecturer will be very much like a supervising solicitor, effectively, at work. You are very much encouraged to think of this as your training ground, because that's what it is. So ask lots of questions and read through the feedback you get. It's designed to help you fine-tune your skills and improve on your drafting and your understanding of the sorts of advice you should give clients and that sort of thing. So that's the environment that you're in, and it's designed for you to get the most out of it. The other thing I just wanted to mention is that for the activity resources, you are basically given everything you need by the college. The college has everything really well set up like that. When you go into an assessment piece, you will be able to click on activity resources, and you'll be given everything that you need for it. There'll be a sample of what it might be. For instance, there'll be a direct link to the actual part in the textbook that you need to look at. There'll be a case study usually, there'll be links to court forms, legislation. So you really don't even need to go outside of what's here on the learning portal in order to get your task done. By all means you can, but it is set up so that everything's there at your fingertips. So it's really great like that. We do also have a fantastic college library, which has all your LexisNexis materials, CCH, a whole range of things, OSCE, and all of those things that give you this wealth of material to help you. Those are the fundamental things. I don't want to overload you at this stage. Does anyone want to know anything else, or is there something I might have missed, or do you want me to look at?
So full-time you're doing 2 subjects at the same time, and part-time you're doing 1. That's correct, isn't it?
Full-time you're doing 1 course subject at a time.
And then the electives you do 2 at the...
That's right. So, you know, full-time you'll do ethics over 2.5 weeks, I think it works out, and then you'll do civil, then property, then commercial, and then at the end you have 2 weeks to do your elective subjects.
Yeah, and they're smaller, so you can do 2 at the same time there.
Yep, they have a lot less in them, so you can actually get them done together.
And then so part-timers just they do it over more time each subject.
Yep, that's basically it. Yep.
Yep.
But as you can see, there's a lot in each subject.
Yep, exactly. So yeah, it is a good idea if you are working to do that part-time. Then you'll so work through all your tasks for each activity, get to the end of the subject, do a quiz that lets us know that you're ready to do the exam, and then you'll book in for so that we have certain days where the exams are scheduled for. So it might be like, okay, that subject, it's on these 3 days are when you can book in for your assessment. So the days are set, and then you first in best dressed. So if you want a 9 a.m. one, get in quickly, or lunchtime one, or whatever, you book in and pick the time that works best for you. And you just need a quiet space and a good internet connection and all your materials. So we provide you with all the textbooks and what we call our practice papers, and then everything else that is online. As Tracy mentioned, all those library resources are all online. The practice papers are also online as well, but you do have the option to get those as a hard copy as well. So there's no more trotting down to the bookshop and spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars. That's all part of your course materials. So it's just started belting down here, rain again. If you saw me jumping when Tracy was talking, there's been a little bit of big thunder. So it's all happening. It's probably moving up to you guys on the way up to the Sunshine Coast. Awesome. Well, we might go back to the slides if that's all right. Tracy, I'll get you to unshare that.
Sure. Yep. There we go.
And I'll go back to share.
Yep.
Okay, so this is just a screen grab of what Tracy was showing you. This bit's showing you the feedback. So this is a piece of work that someone submitted, and you can see it's got little blue bubbles on it, and then over to the side there's some written feedback from a lecturer. Sometimes you'll click on an icon and a voicemail will pop up, so you can actually listen to feedback as well. So that's quite cool, and it's all personalized to you. So it's not just generic feedback that everyone gets. It is, you know, this is what you need to look on, this is where you might need to go. So really do make use of that feedback, because that's the lecturers and trying to, you know, bring your work up to that standard that we require, or the admission boards require, and it does help you to, if you put that feedback back into your work, you can only get better. And these are some of the videos that you'll have access to. So sometimes we've done stuff in that week 1, and then you need a reminder down the track. And then this is you'll get this timetable for whether you're part-time or full-time when you start as well. So this was a January start. I think it's a part-time course. And so it's color-coded as to what each subject is and when stuff is due. So take that and put it into your own either online or paper diary or up on the wall, however you track yourself, and keep yourself organized and on track. That's our big tip. And any of our graduates will tell you the same, because it's a lot coming at you on top of work or other things that you've got going on in your life. Now, all of your lecturers and all of your successors have been lawyers or are lawyers still, and they understand that stuff pops up. You get pulled onto a matter, you have to go to court, whatever's happening. You will not be the first person trying to do stuff and do PLT at the same time. So, but just keep in touch. So don't sort of disappear into the woodwork and then sort of get totally overwhelmed and then come back and need it all done at the end. Just get on the email, pick up a phone, and just get in touch with one of your lecturers. Just, shoot Tracy or whoever the appropriate lecturer is an email to say, hi, stuff, whatever's happened. We don't need all the details, but, I've got to go to court, or, I can't get that in by Friday to be ready for my assessment. Could I have an extension? And then within our rules, they can say, well, why don't you get that in by Tuesday? Now, if you miss the assessment days, that's still fine. We have makeup sessions along the way. So we have certain days that are catch-up days. So we want to get you through in a timely manner. If you fall too far behind, you might have to drop back to the course coming behind you. That's the only thing. So our big tip is to be organized, diarize everything, and try and keep up with it as best you can. But if you're not, then get in touch with your lecturer ASAP. All right, so basically this is how all the tasks work, isn't it, Tracy? You'll receive instructions from your manager, which is the activities and the tasks that you'll see listed with all the resources, and then you'll access all those resources to put in those resources into the tasks that you're doing. This is the bit that we can't help you with to the most extent. You'll do the tasks, and then you'll submit that to your boss / lecturer in that mock situation, and you'll receive that feedback, and you'll be competent or not competent. And if you need to resubmit it, you'll put that feedback back into your work and then go through that process again. So that's what happens. And then you'll do that online quiz at the end, and then we'll know you're ready for your assessment. And it's just having a chat with your lecturer online, because when you're working, your boss isn't going to say, hey, I want to know what's the status with that matter, submit a 1,000 word essay to me Friday week. They'll say, what's going on? Come and tell me about it now. And so it's and also communicating complex legal matters to your clients who don't have law degrees in most cases, in simple language as well. So we're teaching you how to explain things to your boss, to the court, to your client, in clear, concise language. And it's practicing taking to being able to verbalize that, which is a real work situation. And as you can see, all our lecturers are very knowledgeable, very experienced, but between a lot of them, they've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years experience in the law, and they bring that to our students and, mentor you through this process to come out the other end as soon to be admitted practitioners. So that's very, very exciting when you do get to the end of it. Okay, so that's coursework. That's the big one. That's the 15 or the 30 weeks of work that you'll be doing. Now, the second tick box is work experience. So we do go through this with you when you start as well. We've got a video that you can watch, or if it's in person, sometimes I come up and talk you through this as well. So you don't have to remember it all now, but let's just go through your options. Now, in normal circumstances, before COVID, after COVID, whenever that happens, we have two options for you. Our standard work experience option, which is 75 days of work experience with a reflective journal, or a short format, which is 15 days of work experience plus an extra subject called our clinical experience module. Then, of course, for whatever reason, we have a 0-day, this is a COVID option, because what happened was a year and a half ago, we watched the job board go doosh, 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 and everything just dropped away. People were panicking because there wasn't any options. It's hard to set someone up to work from home remotely when they're just there for a work experience placement. Things are starting to pick up now, and we're seeing a lot more jobs back on our jobs board, and also people are telling us that and also the enrollments in the in practice component 0-day work experience are dropping. So we are not, and people are doing more of the short format or the long or the standard format. So that's how we know that there's more jobs out there. So that's good news for you guys. That was a year ago, everyone was panicking. But this is still available at the moment. Now, if you're in second year and you're coming to us in another 2 years, it's not going to be available when we get to you. But if you are starting at the end of the year, this will be available through till June, end of financial year next year. So let's talk through all of them. Okay, I'm going to go 75, 15, 0 in that order. So 75 days of work experience. The exciting news is that you could have already nearly completed all of it if you're close to starting. You can retrospectively claim 60 out of your 75 days in the 2 years prior to PLT commencement. So let's just say that some of the guys who were talking to at the beginning of the session are minutes off finishing their degree, and they might be starting in November. Let's just say they're with Tracy face-to-face on campus at the end of November. So end of November 2021. Let's look back to the world before COVID. Can you even remember what that's like? November 2019. If you can find 60 days of legal work experience that meets the criteria within that period, you might start putting in forms for that this week. Okay, you can get that all signed off prior to even starting work experience. You don't have to be enrolled in the program. You can just chuck your forms in and they sit on your profile waiting for you to commence. Now, it doesn't have to be at the same place. You might have done 20 days here, 20 days there, and you know, another however many days at a third place. For each employer, you will have someone sign you off. So you put in a form at the beginning, and these are all available on our website at collaw.edu.au/. So instead of the PLT that's down the bottom of that screen, put downloads with an end on the end, with an S on the end. So downloads. That gives you every form you're ever going to need at the College of Law. So there's a form that is application for work experience, and that's just saying, hey, college, this is where I'm working, this is who I'm being supervised by. You sign it, they sign it. At the end of that placement, whether it's at the end of the 75 days or the end of 20 days or 10 days or whatever it is, you sign off another form that's a declaration saying this is how many days I did, where I did it, who supervised me, and your supervisor signs it. It's the person, not the firm, so it does have to be the same person. So let's just say you're working with Tracy and myself, and I sign the first form, I must sign the second form. So if I go on leave, you'd have to get Tracy to do beginning and end. Now, when you go into a placement, from now on, have a chat to people saying, hey, I'd like to claim this for my PLT because it might be your grad job, and you know, how do you want to go about it? Just so that they're aware and you don't stick a form under their nose at day 75 and they go, hang on a minute, I didn't know about this, I'm not too keen on it. Because lawyers, you know, we teach you to be risk averse. So we have had that very occasionally happen. So I think it's nice manners if you go, hey, would you do this for me? And we have some guides on that downloads page that you can send a potential supervisor, and then there's a guide for you as students as well. Now, the final, so let's just say you can find up to 60 days. The final 15 days has to be done while you're doing PLT or in the 2 years prior to PLT coursework ending. So you can see that you've got 4 and a bit years. You've got 2 years beforehand, the time that you're doing PLT, and then 2 years after PLT. So it could be basically part-timers could be 4 years and 30 weeks, couldn't it? So do we have a question there, Tracy? Lost my questions. I can't see them. Oh, hold on, chat. No questions. Okay, so that's the full time, and then you will do a reflective journal at the end that you sign off on and your supervisor signs off on. So that's it. So you'll pay your course fee, and then there's no extra fee for that. So we're a bit of a user pay system. If everyone pays their course fee, and then you just go to the shelf of PLT work experience and then select what option you want. So you might be have done a bit of work experience. Look, you could get to PLT and have no work experience. That's totally fine as well. And then you're in a graduate role, and then you're doing your work experience while you're doing PLT or after PLT. You can also choose when you do it. If you want to go, right, no, I'm doing this over 15 weeks, and then I'm going to do my work experience, I'll line that up for afterwards, just so that I'm not doing them at the same time. It will extend the time till you get your finishing certificate, completion certificate, but that might work better for you and your family and your situation. That's totally cool. Okay, so you might select the standard work experience format. Or you might go, do you know what? I think I want to do it a bit more quickly. I'm going to do the short format. So it's 15 days of work experience. Now, none of that can be retrospectively claimed. Oh, by the way, the reflective journal for the standard is only on the 15 days. It's not, you're not reflecting on 75 days. So short format people do 15 days of work experience. It has to be done during PLT or in the 2 years following PLT coursework. So again, you've got that 2 and a bit years to do it. And you also, once you've done your 15 days and had those signed off, you do your clinical experience module. So you then you just purchase that subject. So you're adding that onto your coursework. So it's user pay for those people. That is a 6-week program now with a start date and an end date. And you work through that work on reflecting and based on those 15 days of work experience. And then you submit all that, the subject get assessed for the subject, and then that's it. Or you could do the in-practice component at the moment if you are eligible for it between now and June. Look, it might get extended, it might not. Hopefully it doesn't, because that means that COVID's under control. So let's just pray that that happens. It's no days of work experience. You then add on another subject called your in-practice component, and you're just paying for that subject. And we match you with an experienced mentor, and the mentor takes you through a body of work that sort of mimics the world of work in a firm, and that's your work experience option. So you've got 3 at the moment, potentially 2 if you're not coming to us for a while. So what counts? Pretty much anything that you are involved in the process of, you know, you are a cog in the wheels of the legal process. So not admin work, so not working on reception, but you are dealing with clients, having exposure to clients, you are drafting documents, you are doing some legal research and using a file management system. So it's very broad. You don't have to say specifically what you're doing. You don't have to write down your 6-minute blocks or anything like that, but you're signing off to say you believe you've met the rules, and the supervisor is saying, yes, this person has met the rules. I believe that they should be admitted as a legal practitioner. But you're not actually going, oh yeah, it was 27% doing that, and this is what they actually did. You're just saying, yep, met the rules. Yes, they've met the rules. So it can be pretty broad, because for as many people as might be in your cohort, you'll all be doing different jobs. So you can be doing any or a few of these. Summer clerkships, paralegal work, volunteering at a community legal centre, working with legal aid. You might be working in-house, which is cool. So your clients will be your colleagues, not external people coming to a firm. Government, a lot of people do judges associate positions. You might be working with a barrister or with a tribunal member. So pretty much a whole lot of stuff, but you will be a cog in the wheel of the legal process. Not giving advice, because of course we know you're not allowed to do that because you're not admitted, but you will be doing those things maybe behind the scenes for the instructing solicitor that you are working for. So we just want to see those 4 things, basically. If you are in a role that is remote with COVID, and more of us are working this way at the moment, there's just an extra form to say how you were being supervised during that remote supervision. That's pretty much work experience. Let me know if you do have any questions. I know there's a lot of information coming at you this evening, so great work and hanging in there. Now, the third tick box is probably the easiest to talk about. It's your CPE. So as you are, when you are an admitted solicitor, so Tracy has to maintain her practicing certificate every year. It involves dropping a heap of cash and reapplying for it. So you do have to pay a fee every year. It's not cheap either, is it? It's $700 or something, isn't it? And you have to do at least 10 hours of CPE training every year. Now, accountants have to do a heap more, so I won't even get into that, but it's 120 hours over 3 years. So 10 hours, I was talking about this with someone yesterday, I'm like, 10 hours a year is nothing. So you might go to events with the District Law Association, Young Lawyers, your firm will send you to conferences, all this stuff, and it all counts. So we practice this during PLT. So basically we give you, here's 10 seminars and short courses that when you do them, you add them together and it'll give you a certificate of legal tech and business skills. We're the only provider that puts legal technology into a program, I believe. And you'll just do a couple of these a weekend as you start the course. So you can tick this off pretty quickly. And we also include things like understanding financial information and networking and personal brand, all those business skills and personal skills on top of what you need, your legal skills. So it's really important to know about this, and you get this extra certificate as well. So you can put that on your resume, talk about it in interviews. So that's pretty cool. And that's your third tick box. So coursework, work experience, CPE. Most people do it sort of kind of all in the same time period, all sort of woven together and come up the other end. But you can do it separately and go longer than your course. But of course, you don't get that completion certificate till you've ticked off all three. All right, we're sliding on to the end. Here are our fees. And I believe they're not going up for next year. I think the board's just about to sign off on that. So that's exciting. So you pay your course fee, and then that's it. If you do the standard work experience option, you add on your clinical experience. If you do option 2, you add on your in-practice component. So it's an or situation. It's not both. So it's fee and nothing, fee and clinical experience, or fee and in practice. You can use fee help, of course, which is the name for, it's a different pot of money than your undergraduate. So you can, Australian citizens can put that on the government in the short term. You might have a job where they're paying for it. So let's all cross our fingers that happens for you. But of course, speak to your accountant, because if you're working in the legal profession, in a legal role, and doing your PLT at the same time, you might be able to claim some of it on tax. So we are not accountants. We cannot advise on that. Oh my God, I've been hanging around with lawyers too long, Tracy. But go and chat to an accountant and see what you can do about that. It's probably would be my hot tip for that. Okay, so why study at the College of Law? We were set up by the profession for the profession at the request of the profession. We're taught by the profession, we're assessed by the profession, and reviewed by the profession. So we only exist to train lawyers. We do not do undergraduate degrees. We do practical legal training, and we've been doing it for nearly 50 years, training lawyers. It wasn't called PLT back then, but we've been training baby lawyers for nearly 50 years, 20 years in Queensland at the request of the profession. They were like, why are we sending people to Sydney? Why don't we have College of Law Queensland? Okay, and nearly 20 years ago, we set it up. Anne-Marie David, who some of you will know, was established. It was her and 3 people in a classroom, and now we're hundreds and hundreds of students every year. So we've grown. We are all over the place. We're the only provider that physically goes to teach outside of COVID. Cairns, Townsville, Sunshine Coast, Gold Coast, Rockhampton, and Toowoomba, so and Brisbane as well, which is where we're based. But we very much go to the profession rather than expecting people to come to us. Of course, we're accredited by the Queensland Legal Practitioners Admissions Board, and we give you state-specific content. So we're our program's taught by Queensland practitioners. You are provided with Queensland practice papers, and it's specific to the Queensland jurisdiction, which does not mean you can't practice in other states. There's memorandums of understanding between the different states. So you can, we've just had one of our students very recently move to Melbourne. So she's now admitted in Victoria. So she's practiced here for a couple of years and then made the move down there. So you can certainly do that. We've got lots and lots of alumni, very strong on the Sunshine Coast. It's very practical. We're learning by doing. It's not theoretical. So say goodbye to theoretical knowledge. And most of the time people walk out of the end of that first week and go, wow, that was so cool. I got to be practice being a lawyer. Haven't been able to do that through uni. It was all theoretical. And now it's fun. Now it's on my feet doing things, not writing essays. And all of a sudden, I think everything that you've learned sort of falls into place. Very convenient. We have a kabillion, that's not a real number, but we have over 30 intakes a year, including 2 specifically on the Sunshine Coast. But you don't have to wait 6 months to do our next course. If you miss one because you haven't quite got yourself organized, there's very rarely more than 6 weeks that you have to wait. So we are happening all the time. Face-to-face on the Sunshine Coast is twice a year, end of June, end of November, when we come to you. And of course, you can study online, full-time or part-time. We also have 2 career professionals that are here to support you. So they'll talk to you and mentor you through job applications and interview skills. And they run a bunch of workshops which are available to you guys now. So we do tell your Law Student Society about them, and Maddie very kindly has them posted on the LSA Facebook page. So keep an eye out on that. We are the largest provider of practical legal training in the College of Law. There's not any state that we don't have lawyers undergraduates in, and yeah, we train the most. So something's happening. Something's going right, isn't it, Tracy? And you can come back to us and do your master's, also your legal practice management certificate, which is what you need to be a principal or have your own firm or be a partner. We also do mediation courses. We also do CPD. So anything that you need to be a lawyer for the whole life of your career. It's not just PLT. And we are the preferred provider of 16 out of the 20 top international and national law firms in Australia. So actually, we're embedded in graduate programs to all the big firms, and we send our lecturers to them rather than students coming to us some of the time, which is awesome. So if you do end up with one of the big firms on Eagle Street, you'll be doing College of Law as a matter of course. Now, I would love if my phone started going ping, 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 with everyone linking with me on LinkedIn, because I love to stay connected to see what you're doing and where you're going and what's happening. And also I can tell you about, free webinars and seminars and stuff coming up. And I'd also recommend following the College of Law on LinkedIn or Facebook, because we have some really cool info that happens there. It's not just, hey, this is the next PLT course. It's interesting information that's really relevant to people soon to be lawyers or who are lawyers. So lots of information there as well. So I'm going to stop sharing and come back to you. Gone a little bit over time, so I do apologize for that. I would love to hear thank you for your time, first of all, but I'd also love to hear if anyone had any questions or anything that you'd like us to explain. My email was up on that slide. I'll put it here again. jowen@collaw.edu.au. Feel free to email me if you do want to have a chat, set up a time to chat directly, or you can send me a message on LinkedIn. I'd love that even more. So yeah, if you do sort of get to tomorrow and you're processing everything and you go, I didn't ask that, I'd like to ask that, you can certainly come back to me. I'll also send you all the recording, this recording, so feel free to send it out. Oh, I've got something to tell you. If anyone is thinking about doing PLT in the next year and has an interest in family law, I'm sorry, there's a scholarship due tomorrow. It's the family, I think it's this. It's the family lawyers. No, that's wrong. Flipper. Family Lawyers Practitioners, Family Law Practitioners Association. So it's not flap, it's flip. Jacqueline. Flipper.org.au. They have a scholarship in conjunction with the College of Law closing tomorrow at 5 o'clock. If you are going to, even if you're not doing PLT till say next June, you're still eligible if you have an interest in family law. It is your College of Law, a nearly $10,000 fee paid for. It is, I think Flipper gives you $1,000 towards sort of costs. And then if you don't have work experience, they'll match you with someone to do work experience. So it's amazing. So email me tonight if you've missed that, or link with me on LinkedIn. It's due tomorrow at 5 o'clock. So I just wanted to share that with you. We have scholarships are few and far between, and it's a really, really good one. Look, there's not going to be a kabillion people applying for it. It's a pretty small pool. So it's just sort of people coming to College of Law in the next year, only in Queensland, only available to Queenslanders. If you have any even inkling that family law might be a place for you, apply. If you're going to do PLT in the next 12 months. So get on to flipper.org.au, or just Google Flipper, Family Lawyers Law Practitioners Association, and it's on their front page, and you click and you read all the criteria and what you've got to do. So sorry that it's only one day, but it's kind of good that we know about it. Awesome. Well, if we don't have any more questions, I'll wrap us up for the evening, because I'm sure there's something that you need to be doing.
Sorry, Jacqui, I just have a quick question.
Yes, thanks, Maddie.
Sorry. So some of us will be having our last exams. It'll be about mid-November,
yes,
but we don't get our grades back and official graduation until I think it's the 9th of December or something. So are we still able to enroll for the end of November session?
Absolutely. So you don't need your results. We will need them at some stage, but you've got about 5 or 6 weeks to get them in. So we have a census date, much like university does. So they're due by census. Having said that, don't tell College of Law that I told you this. I've seen people put them in like in week 15 or week 30. Oh, and can I have my completion certificate in 10 minutes? Weren't you supposed to have that in like 10 weeks ago? Yeah, so just enroll, and then when you get your results,
like our transcript,
then you put it in.
Now. Yes. Okay, cool. No, that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. So you guys, if you're wanting to roll straight into PLT, especially that face-to-face, I would say get online tonight, collaw.edu.au/PLT, and enroll tonight. You don't have to like pay for it and go through the whole thing just yet, but just get your application started. You'll go in as a provisional enrollment, and then we know that you're interested, and then our student services people keep in touch with you and just help you along the way. If you are keen to do that face-to-face, you need to be rounding up your friends, send them this presentation and say, hey, come and do PLT with me. We need minimum numbers for Tracy to come. You, me is 2. Let's find another few people. So we're crossing our fingers and toes and eyes and kidneys, aren't we, Tracy?
Yes, hopefully we do have a nice little group. And we can actually get face-to-face again. That'll be a nice feeling.
Restrictions allowing, of course.
Yeah, restrictions allowing. Yeah.
No, fingers crossed there's not a lockdown as well.
And then we get to have morning and afternoon teas again.
Yes, and I'll be zipping up with some lovely fresh sandwiches to have a chat and hang out for a bit of time as well. So there's a lot of information there. If you're interested in the face-to-face enroll pretty much by the end of the weekend, just so that we know you're coming. Tell your friends. There is also still online programs for you to do. And then if you have any interest in family law, I recommend the scholarship. Pop that in tonight by 5 o'clock tomorrow.
Yep.
Awesome. And
Hi,
yes, you don't need to have your results. You can enroll, start PLT, and then when you get your results on that first week of December, you just pop them in at that time.
Hey, I've just got a quick question, if you don't mind.
Yes.
I've heard rumors, and I'm probably just dreaming, that a course that we undertake at USC, it's an elective called Dispute Resolution. People have said that that may actually be counted towards some of the coursework through PLT. Is that just me dreaming, or is that a real thing?
It is a real thing, but for not much longer.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Okay.
I think by November it's compulsory. I think, Tracy, is that?
Yes,
correct?
that's my understanding. I was just talking about it with someone today. My understanding is that the current students doing their workshops are the last ones who are allowed to have exemptions from doing the workshop on dispute resolution during the workshop week, based on what they've done at uni in terms of dispute resolution.
Yeah. It was only one day. It was only
It was only one day. Yeah,
it was only just one day. It's not, oh, you've got to come for an extra 6 weeks or anything like that. It was just one day on the Friday, and it used to count, but the admissions board and the LAC and all these things that govern us, because we just do what we're told, really, don't we, Tracy?
Yeah.
Have changed rules so that now it is compulsory, but it was only just one day. And you're still paying for it. You don't get a discount if you don't do it.
Okay, so I may as well just attend it and get the benefit of the learning
exactly.
experience.
It's fun. It's a fun day too, that one, isn't it, Tracy?
Yeah, well, I think it's pretty fun, but then I don't have to do the work, do I? But, you know, it's just one of the days out of that full week of the workshop. So it doesn't have any impact on your coursework as such. So you don't get credit for coursework or anything like that.
Okay.
It would just mean if you had an exemption, you wouldn't do the Friday of that week of the workshops. So some of the students who've been doing their workshops this week won't be coming tomorrow because they've got, you know, an exemption, whereas the others who don't will still be there. And they're the last group, as I understand it, who are allowed to have exemptions. The admissions board has said no more.
Anyone with a 2-1 course code.
Yeah.
I think, and then once the 2-2 course code starts, so our academic year starts in October, so it's pretty much October onwards, I believe.
Yep.
I'd have to look at it, but definitely November's are a 2-2 course code. They're technically 20 because you're finishing in 2022. So
that's right. Yeah.
I think this is my opinion. I don't have to do the work either. I think you're paying for it. I like to get bang for my buck, and I like to learn and sharpen my skills whenever I can. So I think if you've got amazing practitioners who are coming to teach you that, yes, you've done it at uni, but you can always learn more, and you're learning practical skills. And I tell you what, if we have people that come that have done our mediation course, they still have to do it.
Yep.
I'm glad I don't have to deal with those.
It's different from uni too, and you get to you focus a lot on negotiation, and you do some real life case scenarios as a group as well. And I think it's really beneficial.
Me too.
Thank you for answering.
Good question. I'm glad you asked that one. Thanks for that.
Right.
Excellent. All right. Well, let's go and have dinner, pat our puppies, do some work, watch some Netflix. I don't know what's on. I don't think I've got anything on. I think I'm having takeaway, so that's excited for me. I think we're having a bit of Greek that might have arrived. That's probably what my dog was barking at. So thank you, everyone. Thanks, Maddie, for organising this. Thanks, everyone, for coming. Thanks, Tracy, for Tracy's had a big day of teaching PLT today, so we really appreciate her time. And if you have any questions, please get in touch with me. And if you are interested in that Flipper scholarship, get online tonight, check it out. If you are interested in doing face-to-face, make sure you pop your enrollment